You cry at things that aren't even yours to cry about. A stranger's story. A dog in a commercial. A coworker mentioning like it's nothing that her dog died last week, and suddenly you're blinking at the ceiling so no one sees you. And every time, the same thought hits. What is wrong with me? Here's the truth. Nobody ever handed you nothing is wrong with you. The thing you've apologized for your whole life is a neurological ability most people on this planet don't have. Give me 90 seconds and I'll show you the exact mechanism and why the people who never cry are the ones actually missing something. That story is wrong. And the science that proves it wrong is more specific, more fascinating, and more validating than anything you have been told about yourself before. By the end of this, you will understand the exact neurological mechanism behind why you cry so easily. And more importantly, you will understand why that mechanism is not a flaw. It is a feature that most people on this planet simply do not have access to the way you do. Stay with this. There is a reframe at the end that will genuinely change how you see yourself. This is Mind With Me, and we are going in. Here is what the world has been telling you your entire life. That you are sensitive, that you are dramatic, that you wear your heart on your sleeve, as if that is a diagnosis rather than a description. Teachers pulled you aside. Friends said you were too intense. Maybe a parent told you to toughen up, that the real world does not wait for feelings. And so you learn to apologize. You learn to laugh it off right after the tear, to say, sorry, I do not know why I am crying. I am fine. This is embarrassing. You built this whole little performance around minimizing what just happened inside you because you had internalized the verdict. Something is wrong with how much you feel. But here is what no one ever told you, and what makes that verdict not just wrong, but completely backwards. The people who cry easily are not feeling more than others because they are weak. They are feeling more than others because their brain is doing something that other brains are doing far less efficiently. You were never too emotional. You were just never given the right language for what your nervous system is actually doing. The phenomenon has a name. It is called empathic resonance. And it is rooted in one of the most significant neuroscientific discoveries of the last 30 years: mirror neurons. In the mid-1990s, neuroscientist Giacomo Rizzolatti and his team at the University of Parma stumbled onto something while studying macaque monkeys. They found neurons that fired not only when the monkey performed an action, but also when the monkey watched someone else perform that same action. The brain, in other words, was simulating the experience of another being in real time. When researchers turned that lens on humans, they found a mirror neuron system so sophisticated it does not just mirror actions, it mirrors emotional states. Your brain does not just observe someone else's pain. Under the right conditions, it runs a simulation of that pain inside your own body. For people with highly active mirror neuron systems, that simulation is not a quiet background process. It is loud. It is visceral. It is a full-body event. Think of it this way. Most people watch someone else's emotional experience through a window. You are watching it through an open door. The wind from their world comes directly into yours. And this is where it gets deeper, because there are at least 3 distinct mechanisms feeding into why this happens so intensely for some people and not others. The first is neurological sensitivity threshold. Research from psychologist Elaine Aron, who coined the concept of the highly sensitive person in 1996, found that roughly 15 to 20% of the population has a nervous system that processes sensory and emotional input more deeply than average. This is not a metaphor. Brain imaging studies show that HSPs show significantly more activation in brain regions associated with awareness, empathy, and integration of sensory data, particularly the insula, which is sometimes called the seat of emotional self-awareness. If the average nervous system is a standard kitchen strainer, yours is a fine mesh sieve. Nothing slips through unprocessed. Every emotional signal from the environment gets caught, examined, and registered. That is why a passing comment about a dead dog in a work meeting can level you in 30 seconds flat. The second mechanism is the role of cortisol and emotional contagion. When you encounter someone in distress, your brain initiates a stress response, even when the danger is not yours. Cortisol rises. Your body is preparing to respond to a threat it has absorbed from another person's emotional field. This is called emotional contagion. And while everyone experiences it to some degree, In highly empathic individuals, the contagion spreads faster and deeper. A 2011 study published in the journal Neuropsychology found that people who score high in empathy show greater synchronization of physiological responses, heart rate, skin conductance, even breathing patterns with the people around them. You are not imagining that you feel what others feel. Your body is literally running a version of their experience in parallel with your own. The tears are not theatrical. They are a biological release valve for a system that has been absorbing someone else's emotional weight. The third mechanism is what happens in your brain's default mode network, the system that activates when you are not focused on a task and your mind wanders inward. In people with high empathic sensitivity, the default mode network has a stronger connection to the limbic system, which governs emotion and memory. What this means practically is that even after the conversation ends, after the meeting moves on, your brain is still processing the emotional residue. You are still holding the weight of what you absorbed. And the longer you hold it without release, the more pressure builds. Crying, then, is not weakness leaking out. It is your nervous system doing exactly what it is designed to do, releasing the pressure that has built up from carrying what other people could not even feel in the first place. Now, here is the question that matters, and it is one most people with this wiring never stop to ask. What does it cost you to keep apologizing for this? Because every time you say sorry, I do not know why I am crying, you are reinforcing the neural pathway that links your empathy to shame. You are training your brain to treat its most sophisticated function as a malfunction. And over time, that shame does not just make you feel bad in the moment. It makes you smaller in rooms where you could be the most perceptive person there. It makes you suppress the very signal that is giving you information other people cannot access. The cost of not understanding this mechanism is a lifetime of muffling a superpower because someone once called it a flaw. So here is how you start to work with it instead of against it. The first move is to create a naming practice. The next time you feel the wave coming, that chest pressure, that eye burn, say to yourself internally, "This is resonance, not mine." You are not denying the emotion. You are correctly labeling its origin. Neuroscience shows that affect labeling, putting words to emotional states, reduces activity in the amygdala, and increases prefrontal regulation. You are not suppressing the feeling. You are giving your brain the information it needs to process it without being overwhelmed by it. The second move is what I call a discharge ritual, and it takes under 2 minutes. After an emotionally intense interaction, find 60 seconds alone and physically shake out your hands. Take 3 slow exhales that are longer than the inhale, and consciously say, "I return what is not mine." This is not spiritual theater. Research on somatic regulation shows that slow exhalation activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which pulls the brake on the cortisol response. Your empathic wiring just triggered. You are literally resetting your nervous system. The third move is to stop hiding the evidence after the fact. Instead of apologizing for crying, practice saying simply, "I felt that." No explanation, no performance, no sorry. Because the moment you stop treating your response as a mistake, the people around you stop treating it that way too, and you reclaim the authority that shame had been quietly stealing. Here is the reframe that changes everything. You have been living as though your tearfulness is proof that you are too fragile for the world. But what if the opposite is true? What if the people who never cry easily are the ones who are under-equipped, who are walking through other people's pain with a nervous system that simply cannot pick up the signal? Your mirror neuron system is not misfiring. It is working at a resolution that most people cannot match. The coworker whose dog died felt seen in that meeting, even if she did not know why. Even if you were the only one blinking at the ceiling. You were the only one in that room whose brain was actually present for her grief. That is not weakness. That is a form of human perception that is genuinely rare. You were not built to feel less. You were built to feel true. What is one moment in your life where you cried and felt embarrassed about it? But looking back now, you realize your body was just picking up something real? Drop it in the comments. And if this kind of deep dive into how your mind actually works is what you have been looking for, there is a lot more waiting for you on this channel.